Can you hear me? You're listening to Tinfoil and Tequila. Thanks so much for listening tonight. It seems that we're having some issues with our transmission. We appear to be having some technical difficulties and a lot of interferences. We hope you can hear us through the static. This is going to be a great show, I can tell. Greetings, Earthlings. All right, and good evening, everyone. This is Larry, and welcome to Tinfoil and Tequila podcast. Tonight it's episode 1, and we've got some great topics tonight to go over. This is going to be aliens and UFOs tonight. So we also have a special guest in here with us this evening, and I'd like to introduce you to Mel Gibson. Mel, are you there?
Hi, Larry. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And by the way, guys, I forgot to tell you this is the female version of Mel Gibson, okay? I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, but hey, this Mel Gibson is just as good as the male version. So we're going to have a great show tonight with Mel Gibson tonight. So everybody put their hands together. All right. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get on with the show tonight. This is our first episode, so bear with us as we go through the chaos of tonight. We've already had a whole bunch of chaos when we were putting together the show over the last few days, and we were setting up our social media accounts, and Instagram decided that they wanted to immediately ban us and suspended my account.
Do.
And yeah, yeah, isn't that lovely? So yeah, so immediately suspended me. I tried to log in again. They're like, nope, you're banned. And so I went through, setting up the other social media accounts and, got everything set up, TikTok, Facebook, everything. And ended up 24 hours later, went to log in to set up all the live stuff on TikTok. And TikTok says, sorry, you can't log in. You are permanently banned. So, yeah.
With no appeal option as well.
Well, they did give me an appeal option, but
Oh, wow.
I did fill out the appeal form, and they said, we'll let you know within an hour if your appeal went through. And in an hour, our account was permanently banned again.
So basically, that was a hard no.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely a hard no. so, so needless to say, Instagram and TikTok already don't like us for whatever reason. I didn't know if they thought we were selling tinfoil, we were selling tequila. This was a show to encourage
And
drinking.
what would be wrong with either of those cells?
No, no, exactly. I'm like, you know, where does where's the problem at? Like seriously, tinfoil and tequila, like people want to have fun, and with tinfoil, like people use foil to wrap their food with. I mean, how bad is it? And well, the aluminum thing is for a whole nother discussion.
They also use people, some people do use them as hats, I have heard.
Yes, exactly, exactly, and that's
Not me,
what
of
this
course,
show is
but
all about. Oh, it's about the tinfoil hats and a little shot here and there, you know. But yeah, we're gonna have fun tonight, guys. Kind of some stuff that we're going to cover tonight. I'm going to go over and talk about some experiences, some personal experiences that I had with UFOs throughout my lifetime, and then if Mel has anything that she'd like to share about UFOs, we can she's welcome to share something as well. But kind of one of the main things I wanted to kind of go over too is that recently there's been a lot of talk in the news with about UFOs, aliens, and there's been kind of mixed things about it, whether aliens are demons or aliens are friendly, and there's just been a lot of controversy, surrounding the whole aliens and UFOs. But I'm gonna just gonna go right out and tell you guys that, with my personal experiences and some stuff about what I've heard, um, and I know that everybody has heard about these two companies, Lockheed Martin and Northrop. Okay, both of these companies are government contractors. Okay,
never.
it's through DoD. Okay, Department of Defense. Now, both of these companies manufacture UFOs. Okay, so I've heard that several times over the
Hmm.
past few years, and I know that with Lockheed Martin, I don't know too much about Northrop, but I know with Lockheed Martin, they've got a lot of secret facilities, a lot of top secret places. They probably even have places that nobody even knows about, kind of like Area 51. But, since we're on that topic tonight, we're going to be talking a little bit about various different things. We're going to talk about the files that have been released by the Pentagon and President Trump. Kind of going over some of that tonight, and like I said, also telling you about my experiences. So, one thing I wanted to share tonight is a video, and I'm going to play it on the air here. You should be able to hear the audio for those that are listening to audio. For those that are watching on Facebook, on Rumble, or on Twitch tonight, we're streaming on all three platforms tonight. Hopefully, we don't get banned tonight off of, with our first episode. That just kind of would be the icing on the cake, right? So I'm just gonna
Right?
go ahead and play this video here from Phil. So this is a video from Phil Schneider, and he's kind of been talking about UFOs and aliens and government conspiracies and all this kind of stuff, over the years. And he's a very knowledgeable man, very smart, and appears to be authentic in everything that he's talking about and everything that he's sharing. Doesn't appear to be deceiving in any kind of manner. But anyways, let me go ahead and cue up this video, get this video playing on the air here for you, and it's about 3 minutes long. So I'll go ahead and let this play, and I'll be back here after the video. Here we go. All right, guys. So, hope you had a chance to look over that video there. And I played from Phil Schneider. Hopefully, you were able to see it and hear it. This is, like I said, episode one. So, we're working out all the kinks and, all the technical difficulties and, getting used to everything here. So, we're uh, trying to get in the swing of things. so, so we're gonna have those technical
A learning
difficulties.
experience, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we gotta, we gain experience from the mistakes. There we go. All right, but yeah, so we're gonna talk a little bit. Like I said, tonight I want to share one of my personal experiences. Well, actually, a couple of my personal experiences that I've had uh, throughout my life. Regarding UFOs, and kind of tell you where I kind of gotten intrigued by this topic and what I've seen throughout my life and what I still see from day to day. So, with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and get on into it. So, my first UFO encounter, I was about 8 years old, and I remember being in the car with my mom, my little sister. My little sister was about 3 years old, and rode with my mom down to the corner store. And I guess she went down to, I don't know, get a pack of cigarettes or something down at the corner store. So it was about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. It was dark outside. Not too long after dark, but anyways, my mom went in the store, and I just kind of stuck my head out the window to look up at the stars, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what is that?" And there was this rectangular looking object right above the treetops. I'd say maybe about 1,000 foot or so above the tops of the trees. I mean, it wasn't real far up. It was up a little bit, but not too far. And what it looked like to me was like if you cut two cars in half and you put the two front end of the cars back to back where both the headlights are shining out um, from it. That's what it looked like. It looked like the two front end of cars put back to back, and the headlights were shining out. There was two lights on the left, two lights on the right, and there was nothing on the other sides. It was rectangular, and it just had these lights shining out. And I'd never seen anything like it in my life. It wasn't an airplane. It wasn't, any kind of personal drone or anything like that. And this happened back in, I'd say, the late 80s, roughly. So it's been a long time since that happened. And I'm showing my age. Yes, I am. I am. But but
Not
anyways,
too long ago.
yeah, not too long ago, just a couple full moons ago. That's about it. but but yeah, so I seen this object, and so I tapped my little sister. I'm like, hey, look at this. Like I said, she's three. So she's like, ooh, like what is that? She's this little baby. She's like, ooh. So, anyways, like we're like sitting here looking at this thing and wait for my mom to come out of the store. And so my mom finally walks out of the store. I said, Mom, what is that? And I'm pointing up at it. And, I put my head back in the window for a brief second while I see my mom, and then looked back out again and pointed back up to it. And it was gone when my mom went to look for it. And she's like, "What are you looking at?" She's like, "There's nothing there." And I looked, I'm like, "Yeah, it's gone." And I'm like, I think I seen a UFO. I'm like, I don't know. But I said, "Here's what it looked like." And I described it to her. And she's like, "Well, I don't know, honey. I don't know, what that was." And so, to this day, I, you know, still don't know what it was and never seen anything like it ever before in my life or since then. Um, but yeah, that was my first UFO encounter. I was about 8 years old, and that happened in Dunellen, Florida, which was in Marion County, Florida, is where that experience happened at. And so
Well,
my
just to confirm, like I know you said you were 8, but you weren't sleep deprived or emotionally compromised at the time.
no, not at all. I mean, I'm a little kid. I'm just just being a kid doing kid stuff. Just looking at the sky and just just, hey, let me see if I can see any stars or shooting stars or whatever. I'm just doing kid stuff. But yeah, no, I don't
Interesting.
recall being sleep deprived or anything like that. So, but yeah, it was definitely a strange encounter to say the least. But I'll tell you about another experience
For
I had.
sure.
This one didn't happen too long ago. This one was probably about 7 years ago, I would say, somewhere around there. And it happened here in North Georgia, where I reside now. It actually happened in LJ, Georgia, which is in Gilmer County, North Georgia. And I had the night before this my incident occurred, my wife had called me and she said, Larry, she says, hey, we've got these like twinkling, flashing lights through the woods that me and my mom are sitting here looking at. I said, what do you mean? I said, twinkling, flashing lights. And she says, we're looking at all these like a row of flashing lights through the trees. And where they were sitting at, they were on the third floor of her house, which is it was like a loft kind of area, and they had this big, like huge bay window on their house, and they could see out. Well, when they looked out the window, you're looking kind of like through the tops of the trees because it was up so high, on the top floor of the house. So where the view, if you had looked through the trees, off into the distance was a hill, kind of like a small mountain, and you really couldn't see past that. And that mountain from the house, you know, to where the mountain was I would say probably maybe like a tenth of a mile or so. It wasn't very far away. So somewhere between that little mountain and the house, this object, these flashing lights were there, and there are roads there. There's a couple driveways and a road there. And so I asked her the obvious question. I'm like, well, could it be emergency vehicles that you're looking at? The flashing lights. Maybe there's some emergency on the road or something over there. And so you're looking at police lights and fire truck lights and everything. She says, no, no, no. She says, there's these lights are in a row and they're like multiple colors. They're like green and yellow and orange and red and all these different colors, and they're just like alternating colors. And I'm like, well, that's definitely bizarre. I'm like, that doesn't sound like emergency lights to me. And so I'm asking her all these obvious kind of investigator kind of questions, to kind of see what
Of course.
she's doing or seeing or whatever. And so, anyways, I asked her. I said, "Can you take a picture of it?" I said, "Can we get us on video or pictures or whatever?" I said, "So we can report it to like MUFON or the police, whatever." And so she's like, "I'm trying to take pictures of it, but I can't. Like nothing's coming out in the pictures." I'm like, "Okay, like maybe it's too far away for the camera to focus, in the dark and everything." And this was that night. It was probably like 10, 11 o'clock at night, somewhere around there. And so I was at home, and I was roughly about 30 minutes away. She was at her mom's that evening, and so I had to work, and I worked from home at the time, and I was getting ready to go to bed when she had called. And so anyways, I said, well, I said, usually when UFO encounters happen, I said, from what I've heard and, experiences I've heard about, is that they usually come back. There's usually another appearance, usually within a day or two or three, there's some kind of other encounter. So I said, I'm going to come over tomorrow night and see if I can see what you're seeing, around the same time, come over around 10, 11 o'clock, whatever, and see if I can experience it if it comes back or whatever. So I sat over at the house for a little bit, with the same view that she had and everything, and didn't really experience anything. Sat there for a couple hours and nothing. So I was like, okay, well, so I'm going to leave and I'm going to go ahead and head home. And this is where my experience started that night. And my experience was a little bit different than hers and her mom's that happened the night before. So I left. I'm heading home. I pull out of the driveway, go down the first road, take a right, go down the second road. I take another right back, and those were dirt roads that I was on. So that next right I took was onto a hard road, and I'm heading out. This was out in LJ in the Cartacay area, which is off of Highway 52, kind of out toward Dawsonville area. Like if you're heading out of LJ, heading toward Dawsonville down 52, it's out that way. So, anyways, I'm heading out to go back out towards 52. So as I'm going down, I believe the name of the road was Roy Road that I was on. So as I turned on to Roy Road, immediately I saw this big bright white light in the sky, and I couldn't quite uh, tell what it was, but I could tell that it was like above the trees and it was above the mountain tops. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's the sheriff's chopper or something. Maybe they're looking for somebody. It's a spotlight from the chopper or something. And because we live in a crazy area like that, so it's normal for a sheriff's chopper to be in the sky looking for somebody, right? But not really. But so anyways, so I'm driving down the road, and I'm just like looking at this white light, and I'm trying to concentrate on my driving, but I'm just like intrigued by this like gigantic bright white light in the sky. And
Intrigued, blinded.
yeah, exactly. And that kind of reminds me of that song, Blinded by the Light,
Classic.
Blinded
Classic.
by the light, But yeah, so anyways, I'm traveling down the road. I'm driving, trying to watch this light in the sky to observe what it's doing, and if it's getting closer to me, if it's moving further away or what. And I'm just like, what is that? Like
If
it's
you're about to get abducted.
yeah, exactly. Like, is it coming for me? Like, should I pull the car over? Like, should I wave at it and be nice, or I don't know like what to do. It was just kind of weird, but I could kind of tell that this light was roughly. It felt like it was maybe like about 5 miles away, or so, but it was pretty big and pretty bright. So I'm like very intrigued. I'm like, I want to get closer. I want to go see where this is at. I want to try to get closer to it so I can see what it is. If is it a sheriff's chopper or what? I don't know. I just want to make my way over that way. So I'm traveling down the roads to get out of the neighborhoods and stuff where I was at to get back out on the main highway to make my way it kind of in that direction over there. And so as I am going out, I stopped a couple times at a couple different spots on the road to look at this light to see if it was moving at all, because I was moving. And as I turn the corner, of course, my view changes, for this light and everything. It goes from one side of the car to the other and all that. And so I finally made my way out, and I get out to Highway 52, and I take a right, like heading back in toward LJ, and I make it down to where RNA Orchards is at, which is, if anybody's familiar with North Georgia, they've probably been to RNA Orchards at least once in their life. It's a pretty popular place where they sell apples and homemade pies and all kind of stuff. So it's a pretty well-known place. But anyways, they were closed. It's nighttime. It's roughly 10, 11 o'clock at night. So I pull into the parking lot there, and they had a street light, to illuminate their parking lot there. And so I pulled in, shut my car off. I got out of the car to stand there and watch this light in the sky because it was intriguing. And so I'm like, what is it doing? Where is it going? Like, is it moving? But it was barely moving, and it looked like it was pretty much staying stationary where it was at. So, and I observed it in that position for several minutes, I would say. And then as I'm watching this light, it kind of starts moving to my right, which was kind of moving in I guess a northeastern or eastern direction, I would say. And it just kind of started moving slowly. It wasn't, I'd say probably, if I was to guess the speed of travel, maybe like 20 to 30 miles an hour. I mean, it wasn't moving real fast. It was just kind of just slowly moving across the sky. So as I'm watching this light, I'm just still intrigued by it. To the south, which I was looking to the south, where I was at, I observed two orange orbs is the best way to describe it. Two orange orbs coming over the mountaintop, side by side. And immediately, the first thing that came to my mind was, hey, these are F-18 fighter jets or F-16s, and they're scrambling to come check out this UFO, you know. And the orange glow that I'm seeing is like the afterburners or something, to the jets, as they're hauling butt from the Air Force Base in Marietta, you know. And that was the first thing that came to mind. I didn't know that the two orange lights that I was observing were also UFOs as well. So
The plot
they,
thickens.
what's that, Mel?
The plot thickens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the plot thickens. Yeah. so so I'm like, not only did I see one, but I got to see three in one night. So as I'm observing these lights in the sky, I'm just like, what am I looking at? Like, what is happening? Like, this is a heck of a light show tonight. And I'm like, even if it's, some random stars or something, like it's cool. Like I'm just going to sit here and watch it till they disappear, you know? It was just not a normal thing that you see on any given night. So as I'm observing these two orange lights came over the mountaintop from the south, traveling north, almost a due north direction. They're heading right toward me. I mean, right to where I'm at. So from where the mountain was, the mountain I would say was several miles away, that I seen them come over the top of, and I could see the mountain in the distance with like a soft glow of the moonlight. I could see the mountain ridges off in the distance. And so as these things came over the mountaintop, and they got about, I'd say about a quarter of the way to where I was at, one of the orange lights split off and went to where the white light was traveling at, like to intercept it or whatever. And I'm like thinking, okay, yeah, this is definitely a fighter jet, and going to intercept that white light, that UFO that's flying over there. And so as the orange light started getting closer to the white light sped up and kind of took off, like traveling in like an eastern direction. And or no, I'm sorry, it would have been a western direction. I'm sorry, yeah, western direction. I get my directions turned around sometimes. Get
Same,
discombobulated and put
same.
kind of like spin me in a circle, and I won't know what direction I'm facing. But but
I'm same.
but anyways, this white light was just like speeding up once the orange light was getting close to it. And then so the orange light sped up to catch up to the white light, and then they just got faster and faster and faster until they were just gone. They just disappeared out of my view, and I was like, whoa. I was like, what the heck am I watching? Well, the other orange light was still traveling directly toward me, and I kept observing it getting closer and closer and closer to me. And the light, as the light is coming closer, the light's getting larger, because the light is getting closer to where I'm at. And there's where I was looking at across the street from RNA Orchards is just a very large cow pasture that's there. And the pasture goes out for a little ways out there, and it's pretty large pasture. So as this light starts getting close to me, and I'd say it got probably about um, maybe about a tenth of a mile, or a little less than a tenth of a mile from where I was at, and the light fades out, like this orange light. It just goes dark, and like, hey, we don't want to be seen. We see him looking at us. We don't want him to see us. We want it to go dark. Well, I could kind of see the object faintly in the sky, even though it was blacked out. I could still see it, with the moon glow and stuff. And I was like, I think that whatever that is still traveling this direction. And I'm like, I can barely see it, but it looks like it's still coming towards me. But I couldn't hear anything. There was no noise or anything, no sound, no engine noise, no jet engines, no nothing. And but I could tell that whatever this was still heading toward me. So I'm just sitting there looking up, waiting for this thing to fly over the top of me, because I mean it's going the direction of travel was literally going right over the top of my head from where I was sitting at. And so I'm looking and I'm like, wow, there it is. And as it gets across the road and it literally like hit the fence line, okay, like right across the road, but I mean, it was up in the air. It was maybe like 1,500 foot up in the air or something like that. It wasn't real high. It was very large. And as it got across the pasture on the other side of the road, this craft, it was boomerang shaped, okay, and this craft flashed its lights, and the lights went around the edges of the wings from the nose down the wings on the outside edges of the wings, and it goes down the wings and then wraps around the back and then comes back up to the middle of the craft. And it flashed these multicolored lights multiple times, like 3 times. It was like blink, 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 but just really flash rapid lights as the lights wrapped around the wings, really fast on all 3 flashes. Like it was like blink, 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 like hey, you see us, And I'm just like, whoa, like what the heck am I looking at? And like I've never seen a craft like that, and I've tried to look up pictures of it, and it looked similar to a stealth bomber plane. It had that initial triangle shape, but it was literally just wings. Like there was no wheels underneath it, and underneath the front, like if you picture like a triangle, without the bottom part of the triangle, just the 2 sides to make the right angle. Underneath the front of that front point was a box, like a that's the way to describe it, like a cabin, like a fuselage or whatever, but it was square, and it was like adhered to these wings. And I guess that fuselage was like the cabin, the control cabin or whatever of this craft that I was looking at. And it flew right over the top of me. I seen it clear as day. The street lights were literally shining off the bottom of the craft, as it flew over my head. It made absolutely no noise at all. It was completely silent, no humming, no hissing, nothing. It was just completely silent, just moving pretty slow. It was going probably about 20 to 30 miles an hour, as it moved over the top of me. And I'm just looking up at the bottom of it, and I'm just waiting, saying to myself, beam me up, Scotty. I'm ready to go. So
Right?
I'm like, take me away,
This is the
cowboy.
most accurate alien sighting ever recorded and on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, wow, like, is this craft gonna land? Like, is it gonna like, beam me up? Like, is it not interested in me? But it definitely wanted to show itself to me, and it acknowledged my presence by flashing its lights at me because it saw me observing it, and it's like, hey, we see you, and we know that you see us. And to this day, I never in my life ever seen anything like that ever. And I've tried to look up pictures of it and everything, but I couldn't find anything. But I'd end up reaching out to MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, that everybody knows about, that investigates UFO sightings. So they got a local investigator out that came out to talk to me, and I had to take the investigator step by step through the whole process from when I first saw the light to where I stopped at and how long I was there for. And we went through the whole thing. And they recorded everything, and I had these little special scopes I had to look at so that they could get trajectory of where I saw the lights in the sky and all that. And they looked through everything, looked through all the flight logs and all kinds of stuff, and they said, yeah, there was no, what they, I'm trying to think of the words that he used. There was no aircraft, no identified aircraft, I guess you can say, that was in the area around that time that I saw these lights. So therefore, these lights were basically unexplained, and there was no record of any craft being in that area, helicopters or airplanes, when I saw these 3 lights that night. The report is on the MUFON website. There has actually been a lot of UFO sightings in North Georgia, believe it or not. There's been sightings in Jasper, Georgia, which is just a little bit south of LJ, and people have reported seeing a cigar-shaped UFO in Jasper some years ago. But recently, over the last couple of years or so, MUFON has changed their website around a lot, and so it's not easy to go on there and pull up the reports of people who used to be able to there used to go in there, and there was a database you could go in and you can type in your city and state, and you could see all the most recent reports and all that. It was really easy to research and look at, but over the years they've changed it, and now it's a different system. It's kind of hard to get into, and you have to sign up for an account and all kinds of stuff. Um, so it's not really easy. But my report is on there. If you can get into that database, you can read all about it on there and for LAJ Georgia. But yeah, so those were my experiences. Exciting stuff, and I will tell you this too. If you guys want to see a UFO, you can see one on any given night just by going outside your house. And you think that's a joke, but I'm telling you that it's for real. And I've done it. I've done the same experiment through multiple places that I've been to. I can do it any given night. I can walk outside right now in my house and go and spot UFOs outside. And what you
Are we talking
do,
about in the daylight or the dark?
nope, I'm talking about in the dark. Yeah, you won't be able to see them in the daylight. So at night,
Definitely not doing that.
yeah. But if you go
Definitely
outside
not.
and look up at the stars and be still. Now, if you have a lot of light pollution in your area, it may not be as easy to see them. If you have a lot of light pollution, if you live near the city or something, so the best place to observe is somewhere where it's really dark, where you don't have street lights and city light pollution and stuff. Just like if you're going out to observe the stars or something, you want to go out sky watch. You want to be in a really dark area. But anyways, go outside and look up at the stars and be still and watch the stars, and you will see the stars are moving. The stars will actually relocate themselves, and it's no joke. They and these are not stars moving; these are craft moving, but they're very high altitude. I estimate them at probably around 80,000 foot, or somewhere around there. So they're up there a good ways. They're up there where the stars are, but you'll see them. I mean, you just be still and you'll see them traveling different directions. They'll be going to the left, to the right, forward, backwards, and sometimes they'll change direction. They'll be traveling one direction, and all of a sudden they switch directions and change and go to a different direction. And one night, me and my kids were laying on the car hood, laying against the windshield, and we were just laid back watching the stars. And within 15 minutes, we counted 32 different craft moving up there. And I call them craft. I mean, I can't, you know, they're they're way up there. I can't exactly see what they look like, but yeah, they're moving around, going different directions, north, south, east, west. It's not a certain pattern, and a lot of people try to debunk it and say, hey, that's just satellites moving around. Well, no, last I've seen any kind of satellite trajectories and stuff that I've seen online, all the satellites all rotate in the same direction. They're all like in an east-west direction or whatever. And they're all kind of just circulating around, on their own. These aren't just going zip, zip, zip every other which way and changing directions, in the middle of their flight path and stuff. So,
Sounds like a Walmart bag blowing in the wind.
yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of that, I had a Walmart bag fly out my out my car window on the way home today, and
It happened.
yeah, I was driving across, going across town, and all of a sudden had my windows down. It was hot outside, but like the breeze outside, and all of a sudden I see this bag rise up from the floor in the back, and it just hovers in the middle of the car for a minute, and all of a sudden, shoo, out the window it goes. I'm like, whoop,
Right?
there went that bag. I was like, I'm not going back to get it. was like, I didn't litter on purpose, I promise.
Nope, just another piece of litter on the side of the road.
Right? That's why they got roadside cleanup. Oh, but yeah, yeah. So
But back to your story. I'm just wondering about the aliens. Why, if they're traveling across galaxies, are they hovering over fields and mountains in LJ, Georgia?
yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good question because think of all the over the years, all the different UFO sightings that have been happening everywhere. I mean, a lot of people see them in remote villages, like over in Africa and stuff like that. I'm like, why? Like, out of all places, why are the aliens visiting a remote village? Like out in the sticks. Like what's so exciting about that? You know, it's just they make appearances in some of the strangest places. I do have to say that.
They maybe know more than we do for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if they just find those places intriguing or what, but it's been always been one thing that's been intriguing to me is like I've always wanted to like experience different cultures, around the world, and I've always thought it was really cool of how like tribal communities, live off the land and how they make things and they make their coverings and they make shoes out of like recycled tires and just all kinds of stuff like that. That kind of stuff's just always been really intriguing. I've always wanted to kind of travel the world and see those kind of things. I think that'd be really cool to experience.
Well, if aliens are traveling around to try to get insight on different cultures, it's hard to believe that they would be doing that to get culture in North Georgia.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're looking for moonshiners. I heard there's a lot of
True, this is
moonshiners
true.
in the hills.
This is true. Observing humans probably would cause someone to start drinking.
Hey, after all, this is tinfoil and tequila. So you know,
This is true.
you could always throw moonshine in there too. I'm just saying. You know.
This is true.
Well, let's switch gears here for just a second. We're going to talk about some of the headlines, some of the headline news that's going on. We've got roughly about 10 minutes left of the show tonight. This is an hour long show. I know my story kind of went a little long and we kind of, blew our segments out of the water there that we wanted to go over and talk about some different stuff. But I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit about these UFO files that have been released, and I don't know if you guys have gone online and looked at them yet or not, but let me give you the link so you guys can go check these files out and see the stuff for yourself in case you don't know where to access it. Okay, it's really simple. It's a really short link, so grab a pen and paper real quick, write this down, and we'll try to throw it also in the podcast description as well for this episode. So we'll try to include that link in there for you guys, so you guys can just click on it right from our episode description on there, since that's the topic for tonight's show. But anyways, that link is really easy. It's just www.war, that's war.gov, that's .gov, and then /UFO. So that's war.gov/UFO. And when you go on there, you'll be able to see all the pictures, the videos. There's files, there's documents on there from different files going way back to many years ago. Stuff from the Department of War, from the CIA, Department of Energy. There's stuff from NASA. It's just quite um, uh, a trench of uh, trove of information that's on there. And just the first release was on May 8th when they first released the first wave of files on there. A lot of the pictures weren't very intriguing. They were things that we've all pretty much have seen before. that have been cycled through the media. Just, I mean, just like, okay, wait, there's a little dot on the screen. Oh, how cool, you know? It's like,
Hmm.
okay, well, I can create that, you know, in about 2 minutes, you know, through my graphic design software. You know,
With a Walmart
yeah,
bag blowing through the wind.
yeah, yeah. There you go. Just take a photograph of a Walmart bag, you know, about 100 foot in the air, and you're like, hey, this is a UFO. It's like, oh wait, that's from Walmart. Yeah. But but yeah, it was just like, um, some of the images were just like, really, like, you know, really, this is what you guys released, like, you know, that could be anything, you know, and they just weren't really very intriguing to say the least. But the second wave that they just released here a few days ago on the 22nd is a bit more intriguing. So they're getting a little bit better on there. So either they got some really good Photoshop people, you know, creating this stuff, or yeah, this is the real deal. So, but you guys
Okay,
go
but
check it
why
out.
does every video look like it was recorded from a flip phone from 2006?
Yeah,
Like, why
yeah.
can't the government have, like, most people have better video graphics on their Ring doorbell cam than the government does, it seems like. That's hard to believe.
I know, and these videos and stuff are from, you know, ships and airplanes and whatever, you know, from the military, and I'm like, really, this is the technology, this black and white, you know, with these little heat signatures. I'm like, really, this is what you guys use? I'm like, you know, what happened to color, you know?
Like, did they buy software from Timu or what?
That's what I'm wondering. Military, the Timu edition. Yeah.
Yes. Like, that's scary.
Yeah. Well, you know, you've heard about the stuff in the past of, you know, all the transgender people in the military. I'm like, hey, it doesn't surprise me any, you know,
No.
using Chinese software from Timu.
Yeah, we're going to have to do better, guys.
I know, right? I mean, really, like, you can't put this stuff in color, like, really, in today's technology. I thought the military is supposed to be like 50 years more advanced than our basic normal civilization. I'm like, this is your advances. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because it seems like they're 50 years behind.
that that sounds about right. Yeah, I think the scientists in Germany are further ahead than we are.
Right?
Oh wow. But yeah, so yeah, we did have some other stuff planned for tonight, and we were we wanted to kind of get into doing some comedy, and you know, kind of have a comedy segment of the show, and some other things in here too. But you know, like I said, our the stories just ran a little bit long today, and but this was still a great episode. We still had fun, and you know, still got you guys some good information, good stories. Gave you some UFO evidence that you can go and check out yourself. So if you guys want to go digging through those files over there on war.gov/UFO, go right ahead and you know, go check out the stuff.
Or or go outside and take some real good clear video.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, indeed. Yeah, you can go outside and watch the UFOs in the sky yourself, you know, and see what you can see out there. I mean, it's um, you know, it's intriguing, you know, to say the least. And we, you know, the stuff that I've experienced in my lifetime, you know, bringing you my personal experiences from it, you know, is something that, you know, I'm never going to forget, you know. And if you can go out and you can have your own experiences, then it's something that you're never going to forget, you know, and you'll pass it on for generations to come. You'll pass it on to your kids, and, you know, and then they'll pass it on to their kids and grandkids and stuff. So, you know, and it's becomes talk of the town, you know, and you share your experiences with your friends, family, coworkers, and I'm not even going to go there about my coworkers. All my coworkers think that I'm nuts, and they're like, "Really, Larry? Really? And you're going to be doing this podcast stuff, this conspiracy theory, and you know, comedy podcast? Like, really?" And I'm like, hey, listen, somebody's got to do it, right? Somebody's got to step up and do it. So why not me? And why not Mel Gibson? I mean, out of all people, it's just
Those skeptical people are probably the ones listening now.
that's right. I'm sure. I'm sure we've already been put on the government watch list. So I'm sure that we've got some government personnel tuned in tonight.
Hopefully, if they watch, they'll send me some tips.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. We can, hey, tell us how to make the show better. Give us some
Yes.
feedback. But before we go, I wanted to give you guys some contact information so you guys can get a hold of us. You guys can send us an email. You guys can also call and text as well. So if you got your pen and paper ready, I'm going to go ahead and give you our contact information now. So go ahead and jot this down. I'm also going to give you our website address, but please do not go there because we do not have a website yet. It looks like garbage right now. And I just literally registered the domain and pretty much installed WordPress, and that's where it's at right now. There's no content there just yet. The show's brand new. The website will be coming very soon. I will be working on that over the next week or so here to get that going. We are also looking for sponsors for the show. So if you're wanting to sponsor the show, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. We're also looking for donors if you'd like to donate to the show to help us with our research, podcast equipment, things like that we need to, we got hosting fees, we've got subscription fees for, our podcast software and stuff that we use that, we have to pay for the show. So any kind of, contribution that you can do, whether it's a sponsorship or donor, is greatly appreciated. And I will you can email me for info on that. That will be on our website once our website's up and going, though. But since you got your pen and paper, let me go ahead and give you that. So our phone number is going to be 706 222 3889. I'll give it to you again. It's 706 222 3889. So that's our phone number. You can call us and text us on that number. Also, I meant to mention not only sponsors and donors, but we're also looking for contributors as well. So if you'd like to contribute to the show, you have a story that you want to hear on the air, you want to send us a topic to talk about, you want to hear something about that, we'd love to hear from you. Let me go and give you our email address as well. So our email address is going to be studio, that's STUDIO, at tinfoilandtequila.com. All right, that's also our website address. So tinfoilandtequila.com is our website. Like I said, please don't go there, and it's an embarrassment right now, to say the least. So you can call us, text us. If you call us, it will go to voicemail. Our voicemail will pick up. Just leave a message with what you want to share. On there, it's a story or whatever. We can give you a call back or text you back. And you can also send us text as well, like I said, to that number, and then email us as well. We'd love to hear from you. So let us know where you're at, where you're listening from. We know we'll eventually have listeners from all over the world, which will be great. This is our first episode. We are broadcasting on Twitch, Facebook, and on Rumble. So hopefully the feed went out everywhere like it was supposed to. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So hopefully everybody was able to tune in, listen to us, and we had a great show, and we just didn't spend an hour talking to ourselves, which would definitely be an embarrassment. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for listening to Tinfoil and Tequila. And I also want to thank our special guest tonight, Mel Gibson. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mel.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
and you're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
But yeah, so Mel, Do you have any final words? Anything you'd like to say before we close out the show here tonight?
Well, just to add what you were just saying, if there are any aliens out there, we are currently accepting interviews, sponsorships, and clarification as well.
Yes, 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 indeed. And hey, one thing
Oh,
about that is what I heard too is that those people that have those strange blood types, like the Rh negative blood and everything, I've heard that they are extraterrestrials. And
oh
I don't know
wow.
how true that is or not, but I heard that they are an alien species. And if you just didn't hear, one thing I want to add before we close this out too tonight, because we still, since we started the show late, we still got like 3 minutes of the show. So, but one thing I want to add is one thing that's been in the news lately. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's all over social media. It's been all in the news on Fox News everywhere. But those sites like Ancestry and Me and the 23andMe or whatever sites that where you can send in your DNA, you can send in like a saliva sample or whatever, and they research you and kind of tell you about your family history and all that. So it's been said that the CIA has been using those programs. Now we're definitely going to get banned for this one, guys. We're definitely getting banned for this, but the CIA has been using those programs to find out people's blood types and what lineage that they come from. So, us conspiracy theories or theorists or truthers, as we're now called, referred to or refer ourselves as, um, we've been saying it for a long time that they've been using those programs to actually find the direct descendants of the bloodline of Jesus. Now, we've just recently heard that they've been actually using them to find and hunt down people that are have alien species blood types. Um, so, with that being said, that is a very interesting topic, and that will probably be something that we discuss on another show once we get some
Scary for
more.
me because I did ancestry. So if
Uh
some
oh.
people in black suits, black sunglasses knock on my door, I'm pretending not to be home.
Yep, exactly, exactly. Hey, with the technology that they have these days, Mel, they could sense that you're in the house now. So, and yeah, they can. I'm sure they've got these like infrared wall scanners that'll just look through your walls, and they're like, oh, there's a heat signature. She's hiding underneath the chair.
Oh, then they're going to know that I'm harmless. So no
Yeah,
worries.
yeah. You don't. Yeah, you're harmless. You don't have rabies or anything, do
No, not that I've came to find out. No.
you?
So
Last time you were at
hopefully,
the doctor didn't mention
I'll
anything
be
about it,
clear of that.
though. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and end and let everybody get back to their lives tonight. So, we've had a great show tonight, guys. Thank you all so much for listening from wherever you are listening from. We hope that you enjoyed tonight's podcast. This is our first one. Next week, I'm not quite sure what the topic will be, but I can tell you that it's going to be interesting, whatever it is. And every episode we have, we're going to try to make it a little bit different. If we do have some more intel about a particular topic that we discuss, we may continue another show on the same topic. So, like, if we get some more stuff we want to talk about aliens and UFOs or stuff, since that's been the hottest thing now that everybody's talking about, we may have another episode, about that coming up with some
If we get
different.
some clear video
Yeah,
evidence.
yeah, exactly. We don't have that grainy CGI video, and Photoshop pictures, So we got some good stuff, but yeah, if you guys have anything you'd like to share, like I said, send us an email to studio at tinfoilandtequila.com with pictures, videos, whatever you've got. If you are sharing a video, I do ask that you please try to upload it to like YouTube or to like Google Drive and then share a link to it. Just because the videos are so large when they're being sent through email, and a lot of times they don't send properly. And so we may never receive your video. So the best thing to do is just upload it to a platform and then share the link. And if you don't want to make the link public, you can set it as private so that only people that have the link are able to see the video. So it's not published in search engines and the whole nine
Put
yards.
on
And then
TMZ.
yeah, exactly. And so you don't end up on the government watch list and experience the men in black suits, you know. So, but yeah, so that brings the show to a wrap tonight, guys. And again, like I said, I thank you all so much for listening to Tinfoil and Tequila tonight. This is a brand new podcast. We hope to have this long term. We hope to have Mel back as a guest again, or as a permanent fixture here on the show, which would be great. So next week, we will have another guest next week. We'll have Jennifer McGee in here with us next week. And like I said, I'm not sure what the topic will be next week just yet, but as we kind of go in, we'll kind of things will smooth out. We'll kind of let you know what the next show is going to be about and things like that. But this we just wanted to get things started, to get our name out there, and kind of let everybody know that we're here. We're here to stay for as long as the platforms will allow us to stay. So far, it shows that we're still
As the government
streaming.
doesn't shut it down.
Exactly, exactly. As long as we don't become another government shutdown project. So, but from what I can tell right now, we are still live on Twitch, Rumble, and Facebook. So none of the platforms disconnected us from, as far as I can tell. So that's good. That's good. So hopefully they loved our show. But that brings us to a wrap. And Mel, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I really, really appreciate you staying here with us tonight and staying late and being a part of this. And hope
Oh,
to have you
thank
back.
you. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. And thank you all so much for listening. And we hope everyone has a wonderful and blessed evening. Take care, everyone.